Testing, testing. Hello, hello. I was just going to ask about the challah. Boy, that's really loud. Testing, testing. Thank you very much.
sure. Thank you. Thanks. If I scream in the middle of the service, it's because there's a limp. I killed one a second ago. Yeah, I think they just took a vac.
Candles are over to my right tonight because we have some special memorial candles on the table. If you would like to light a Shabbat candle as you enter, the Shabbat candles are to my right. Avoid the ants. No ants over there, Baruch Hashem. What do you want?
Francis, I was your teacher a little while. I am. I mean, I'll pull up the book. Whatever you want. Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Please light a Shabbat candle. Please light a Shabbat candle off to my right tonight.
How come you got a big crowd?
We ended up with a few people showing up tonight. If you'd like to light a Shabbat candle, please do so now. Please light a Shabbat candle.
Okay. No.
Doug, come join me for a moment. Actually, grab your chauffeur. Come on up. If you'd like to light a Shabbat candle, we have Shabbat candles off to my right. Please light a Shabbat candle. We're going to begin the service in a minute or two. We have a whole tray, 2 trays of Shabbat candles. Please feel free to light them. Why don't we light a Shabbat candle, and then we're going to have a seat, and we're going to begin in just about 1 minute. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Are we ready to, we're streaming already, aren't we? Great, let's try that all over again then. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. It is great to see everyone here on such an amazingly warm day. I expected everyone to be watching us by Zoom, so you guys are the brave, the mighty, those who do not feel heat. We so appreciate your presence in the sanctuary. I'm Rabbi John Hanish. This is our cantorial soloist of the evening, Hallie Fromson, who used to be our full-time youth director and experiential education director, and still spends some time with us on occasion. And she's going to begin by leading us in Hinei Ma Tov.
If you'd like to follow along, it's on page 128. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la la, ya la 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 la.
Tonight we will honor Shabbat. Tonight we will have Bronson come forward to lead the V'ahavta in honor of his bar mitzvah that's happening next week. Tonight we will reflect on the month of Elul, the month that leads into our high holy days, a month of reflection and introspection. And tonight, at the beginning of our service, we're going to take a few moments to remember the recently murdered October 7th kidnapped victims. But before we do that, it is customary in Elul to blow a shofar. So I'm going to ask our Baal Tekiah, Doug, to come forward. And the custom is to begin to hear the shofar, because the shofar is supposed to warm up your soul. That hardness you have around you, that shell you've developed over the last year needs to be broken so you can truly reflect on who you are and who you need to be. And it's like cracking a piece of stone. It might take a lot of work. So every day you're supposed to hear the shofar. So if you don't come to Kol Tikva every day, guess what? You can go on to YouTube, and I'm sure you'll find someone blowing the shofar for you. So we blow it, but we blow it without a Tekiah Gedolah. We save that for the holidays. But in congregations throughout this country, every day, this sound is heard. Our blessings.
Tekiah. Shevarim. Teruah. Tekiah.
Yasher Koach. We say Shechianu because it's the first time we've heard these blasts this season. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. We go back to October 7th, 2023. 1,191 murdered, 228 kidnapped, 4,834 injured. And last Sunday in Israel, 6 of the kidnapped Israelis were murdered by Hamas terrorists, hours before the IDF, the Israeli Defense Army, Israeli Defense Force, was going to reach them. Let me be clear, they were murdered. Murdered in a tunnel under the city of Rafah, murdered at close range. 6 innocent people. And if this isn't a war crime, I have no understanding of what a war crime is. These 6 were taken from either local kibbutzim or the site of the Nova Music Festival. Either they were sleeping in their beds or they were sleeping in tents at the festival, or many of them were dancing as the sun rose. Their crimes, being in the crosshairs of terrorists who desired one thing, the complete destruction of Israel. Their selection was random, making their captures and murders even more upsetting. On October 7th, we will gather at Wise Temple to remember the events that occurred that day. But tonight we will light 6 memorial candles in honor of the 6 that were murdered this past week. I'm going to take a moment and light candles for the following. Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, an Israeli-American citizen. Ori Danino, age 25. Eden Yerushalmi, age 24. Almag Sarusi, age 27. Carmel Gott, age 39. And Alexander Lobanov, age 33. Our hearts break for those losses, for these losses, and our sympathies go out to their families. Their murders remind us of the cruelty that began this current conflict and the bravery shown by the IDF in attempts to find and rescue each victim. We turn to page 582 in our books for the El Malay Rachamim. The El Malay Rachamim is a prayer we say for the dead. It's a prayer where we invoke a specific aspect of God, and that aspect is the Shekhinah, the feminine presence of God. And this presence gives us miracles, but this presence also cares for the souls of the deceased. And so we ask God, the Shekhinah, this very specific aspect of God, to care for the souls of those who have been taken. We turn to page 582. If we are able, we rise, and we read the English together before Hallie chants it in Hebrew. Together. Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved ones who have entered eternity, grant clear and ascertain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold them in the embrace of your wings. Secure their souls in eternity. Adonai, they are yours. They will rest in peace. Amen. The singing of El Malei Rachamim.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamseh Menucha Nechana, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Utorim, Gezoher Harakia, Mashirim, Lenishmat Yakireinu, Shehalchu Leolamam, Baal Harachamim, Yastirim, Besete Kenafav Leolamim, Vayitzror HaChaim et Nishmatam, Adonai hu nechalatam, Vayanucha beshalom al mishkavam, Benomar Amen.
We're going to take about 60 seconds for silent reflection, 10 seconds for each victim. And about halfway through these 60 seconds of quiet reflection, our shofar blower, Doug, will start to do a quiet blow to remind us of how our hearts should reverberate for those who have been killed. We take a moment of silence. We turn to page 598 for the mourner's Kaddish. We'll be saying it twice tonight. Tonight, we begin by saying it for the victims. Later tonight, we'll be saying it for those we personally know. Page 598. We recite it now for Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, Ori Danino, Eden Yerushalmi, Almag Sarusi, Carmel Gat, and Alexander Lobanov. Page 598. Yitkadal v'yikadash shmei Rabba, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Israel, v'galav v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach leolam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha barechu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, chushpachata v'nechamata, damiran v'alma v'imru. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. I know it will not be easy, but I'm going to now transition us back into Shabbat. but it did not seem appropriate to move into Shabbat fully without first acknowledging these 6 victims. So we turn to page 662 for a tradition, another tradition of Elul, which is to chant Achat Sha'alti. Achat Sha'alti. It's a prayer that's, it's not really a prayer. It's actually a psalm. And this psalm has been our tradition for thousands of years, but it only became part of Elul tradition about 200 years ago. But for the past 200 years, we've been taught to do either this entire psalm or a few verses from it twice a day, not once, but twice a day. And so when we turn to page 662, we're going to see that verse 4 reads, "One thing I ask of Adonai, only that one thing do I seek, to live in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of Adonai, and to frequent God's temple." And I take this message, this verse, to speak about holiness. The idea that we need to live in a holy world, that the house of God is a holy world, and we need to reach for it. And then we gaze upon others, we have to see the holiness in them, no matter who they are or what they've done to us, and strive to find that beauty of Adonai that resides in each person. And God's temple is, the natural world that surrounds us. And each day we should look at that natural world and search for the holiness in it. But the trouble is, our eyes become shut. We do not see. We forget that holiness is everywhere if we open our eyes, if we fight to make it real, if we search for it. Holiness can be present. And so we ask one thing of God twice a day during this month, and that is to find holiness, to open up our hearts more and more. Chat Sha'alti, page 662.
Chat Sha'alti Meit Adonai, Achat Sha'alti Otav Hakesh. Achat Sha'alti Meit Adonai, Achat Sha'alti Otav Hakesh. Shivti, Shivti, Bevit Adonai, Shivti, Shivti, Kol Yamei Chayai, Lachazot Benoam Adonai, Uvaker Behechalo, Lachazot Benoam Adonai, to gaze upon the beauty of Adonai. One thing I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Achat Sha'alti Meit Adonai, Achat Sha'alti Otav Hakesh.
Yasher Koch. We turn to page 138 for Lachado D. Lachado D should help lighten our spirits as we enter the Shabbat, because we sing to the Sabbath bride. And every Shabbat, no matter where we are, the Sabbath bride comes into our presence. She brightens our day. She gives us 24 hours where we can feel the beauty of Judaism, the beauty of community, the beauty of family. So we're going to be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 8. 1, 2, 5, and 9. I've only been doing that for 14 years, and I just got it wrong. 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising on verse 9. Maybe we'll surprise you and do verse 8 one year. Here we go.
Lechado di likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem hu tiferet v'litchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Itoreri, kiva orech kumi uri shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uv'sochola, toch emuneham segula, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
You may be seated. We continue on page 142 with Shalom Aleichem. We've invited the Sabbath bride in. Now we invite in the angels. 2 angels enter our midst, and they lay their hands upon our heads and upon our shoulders, and they give us a blessing. So let me ask you, what blessing do you need tonight? What blessing will those angels give to you? What words do you need to hear? And as Hallie is leading us in Shalom Aleichem, feel the presence of those angels and hear their words giving you that blessing that you need tonight. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei hashalom, Malachei elyon, Mi melech Malachei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem leshalom, Malachei hashalom, Malachei elyon. Mi melech Malachei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
Bronson, can you bring your family forward to help us light the candles? Come all the way up. This is a good family. They know to take the ramp. Please notice that. No shortcutting up the front. So these candles represent a gateway through which the Sabbath bride and the Sabbath angels enter our lives. So as these candles are lit, well, Shabbat officially begins. If you can light the candles. This is something we do not train them for. Do you want to match? There you go.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shel Shabbat.
We turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu. If you're able to rise, I ask you to rise. The Baruch Hu is our call to worship. We face the ark.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai amevora. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed, hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed.
We remain standing for the Shema. Let us take one hand and cover our eyes. Let's take a deep, slow breath in and out. In and out. In and out. And now let us chant the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated, except for Bronson, who's going to come up all over again, and he's going to lead us in the V'hafta. We are on page 154, the V'hafta, the prayer that speaks about love, about how we must love God as we lay down at night and as we rise up in the morning, and we must always teach the idea of love to our children wherever we go. The V'hafta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Big Yasher Koach. And you can have a seat. Good job. We continue with the Micha Mocha found on page 158. And as a way to introduce this prayer, why don't we read together the translation on page 158? So please join me as we read together. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise to you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Micha Mocha, page 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלך, נורא תהילות אוסף אלך. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלך, נורא תהילות אוסף אלך. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם
We turn to page 162 for Vishamru. Vishamru reminds us of the importance to always observe Shabbat. By observing it, we're protecting it, and we protect it by observing it. And this idea, this interplay of observing and protecting, is found in the words of Vishamru. So let us always remember every Shabbat, wherever we are, to observe somehow, to keep the sanctity of Shabbat alive. We are on page 162.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Ki shesh yet yamin asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
We turn to page 371 for the Misha Berach prayer. Tonight on our Misha Berach list, Sharon Friedman, Erwin Ames, Linda Sage, Michael Ryder, Fred Strauss, Catherine R. Salibi, Jeffrey Albaum, Stephen Howard, Mark Jeff, Lauren Kleinrock, Jim Harrison, Dory Glazer, Larry Rinaldi, Consuela Pasantes, Steve Epstein, Barbara Korshak, Sarah Mindel, Gene Berger, Milo Mandel, Stephen Mandel, Stephen Dobbs, Ezra Eston, Mark Vidal, Susan Vidal, Pam Branner, Steve Lincoln, Harry Lawsonberg, Lionel Sokol, Yoni Arusi, Richard Underweiser, Charles Sullivan, Denise Fontaine, Shaheen Koramian, Mia Bakewell, Nerisse Zavala, Carly Schwartz, Darla Abush, Donald Jacobs, the Choder family. We also think of those in Israel, those affected by acts of terrorism, anti-Semitism, and bigotry, those healing from all too frequent gun violence, as we saw this week, and all those caring for the ill. If you have an additional name for our Misha Berach list, our healing list, please share it with us now. Siwek family. Misha Berach Avatenu V'imatenu. May the God of our ancestors will always look upon those we've mentioned tonight with kindness. Grant them a refuah shlema, a complete and full healing, so they may move forward in this world with joy and happiness in their hearts. And together we say, Amen. The singing of Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn to page 164 for the Amidah, the standing prayer. If you are able to stand, please do so. Page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, u'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mehaye hakol atah, Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mehaye hakol berahamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh holim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot, umidomela. Melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lehayotako. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim bechol yom yehalelu haselah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Continue silently from page 170 into page 180. When you're done with your silent prayer, you may be seated.
Od yevo shalom aleinu. Od yevo shalom aleinu. Od yevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yevo shalom aleinu. Od yevo shalom aleinu. Od yevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yevo shalom aleinu. Od yevo shalom aleinu. Od yevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.
There once was a Jew who went out into the world to seek justice. Somewhere he was certain true justice, must exist. But he had never found it. So he set out on a quest that lasted year after year after year. He went from town to town and village to village, and everywhere he went, he searched for justice. But never did he find it. In this way, many years passed, until the man had explored all the known world, except for one last great forest. So he entered that great forest, that great dark forest, without hesitation, with bravery in his heart, because he believed he would still find justice somewhere. And he was fearless in his quest. So he went everywhere in that forest. He went into the cave of thieves, but they mocked him and said, "You expect to find justice in a cave of thieves?" And so then he went into the hut of witches, where they were stirring brews like they did during the time of King Solomon. But they laughed at him and said, "Do you expect to find justice here?" And so the man went deeper and deeper into that forest until at last he arrived at a little clay hut. And through the window he saw many flickering flames, and he was curious about these flames. So he went to the door and he knocked. And there was no answer. So he knocked again. Nothing. At last he pushed the door open and stepped inside. This wasn't breaking and entering in those days. It was totally fine to do. Now, as soon as he stepped inside that cottage, the man realized it was much larger on the inside than it seemed to be from the outside. It was filled with hundreds of shelves everywhere, and on every shelf there were dozens of oil lamps. And some of these lamps were in precious holders of gold and silver or marble, and some were, in containers of clay or tin. But they were everywhere. And some of the holders were filled with a lot of oil, and the flames burned brightly, while others had just a little bit of oil left, and you could see them about to flicker out. And then all at once, an old man with a long white beard, wearing a white robe, appeared before him. "Shalom Aleichem, my son," the old man said. "How can I help you?" And this younger man replied, "Alechem Shalom, I've gone everywhere searching for justice, but never have I seen anything like this. Tell me, what are all these candles?" And the old man said, "Each of these candles is the candle of a person's soul. As long as the oil in this container exists, that person continues to live. But once the oil is gone, the wick goes out, and that person's soul departs forever." And so the man said, "Can you show me the candle of my soul?" "Follow me," the old man said. And he took him down a long, corridor, and then another long corridor, another one, till finally they reached a shelf. The man on this quest thought, when will I ever find my lantern, my candle. And finally, the old man said, there you are. That is the candle of your soul. And the man looked at it, and he saw that there was only a little bit of oil left, that the candle was barely flickering, the wick was barely flickering. And a great fear fell upon him, for that wick was short, and there was very little oil left. And it looked like at any moment the wick would slide into the oil and sputter out. So he began to tremble. Could the end be so near without his knowing it? Then he noticed the candle next to his own, also in a clay holder, but the oil was full to the brim, and its wick was long and straight, and its flame burned ever so brightly. And whose candle is that? The man asked. I can only reveal each man's candle to himself alone, the old man said. And then suddenly the old man turned and disappeared. That man on a quest stood there quaking, not sure what to do. And suddenly he heard a sputtering sound off to his left, and he knew another soul had left this earth. And he saw the smoke from that wick just lifting into the air. And he knew that somewhere there was another soul no longer among the living. And then he looked back at his own candle, and he saw there was only a few drops of oil left. And then he looked at the candle next to his, so full of oil, and a terrible thought entered his mind. He stepped back and searched for the old man in every corner of the cottage, but he didn't see him anymore. And he went back to his candle, and he picked up that lantern next to his filled with oil. And he was about to pour it into his own, when suddenly a hand grabbed his. It was the hand of the old man, and he said, "Is this the justice you are seeking?" And the man closed his eyes in shame, and when he opened them again, he was in the middle of the forest, alone. And he found himself there, and he heard the trees whispering his fate. And he wondered, had his candle burned out? Was he, too, no longer among the living? As we enter Elul, it's our job to look at our souls and who we want to be and who we actually are. And the man in the story wanted to be the man seeking justice. He wanted justice to be his. He wanted to understand it fully. But then when he was tempted in a situation where injustice was his solution, he reached for it. Every Elul, we look at ourselves. Who do we want to be, and who are we? And how do we, become who we want to be? How do we not reach, for that container that contains someone else's oil? How do we learn to be happy with what is ours? How do we seek justice that is fair for everyone and not just our own self-interest? Elul is about searching. Elul literally means to search. And that's what we do for the next 30 days as we approach Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Each of us needs to begin to look inside our own souls. And what happens if we wait until the day of Rosh Hashanah? The services will be long and boring because it will be a shock to your system. You have to prepare yourself for Rosh Hashanah. You have to be present right now to understand the prayers and the meaning of Rosh Hashanah and then Yom Kippur. You can't just dive in. You have to prepare. So my blessing for each and every one of you tonight, during this high holiday season, during this high holiday preparation, may we have the strength to look inward, to find justice, and then to pursue it truthfully. And then may we seek forgiveness from those that we have harmed, because that's what we need to do for our souls. That's what we need to do for others. And together we say, Amen. It's my honor to ask Matt D'Alessio to come forward to deliver a few announcements. There's a microphone for you right here. There we go. And let me give you a kiddush.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And I want to thank Rabbi John for leading us into Elul with your words, and Holly with your songs, and also thanking James for making them look and sound good here and online. And so I've been given this short sheet, and it says there's a few quick announcements, and it only covers the next 3 days, but it's going to take a while because we've got a lot going on. The very first thing that's happening is I wanted to bring up our bar mitzvah boy. So Bronson, come on up here. So Bronson, while I was in the hallway handing out the little brochures as people were walking in, I heard this sound, this beautiful Hebrew chanting coming down the hallway. Do you know what it was? It was you practicing, and it was amazing, and it told me two things. The first thing it told me is that Bronson's taking this really seriously, and he's taking this move into Judaism very seriously, and I was really excited to see that. And the second thing it told me is that Hallie's going to have no job because your chanting was absolutely beautiful. So mazel tov and congratulations. We look forward to hearing you on your bar mitzvah day.
Thank you.
Okay. And you can go ahead and sit back down. And we want to thank your family, the Pack Copley family, who have helped sponsor tonight's Oneg, along with the Karnavskis, who are celebrating a different sort of milestone. I believe there is a birthday in the house. Are we going to sing here? Yeah, okay. So we have a special way to celebrate this birthday among our special...
Well, Maura Jo is such a wonderful teacher here at Kol Tikva. I know we're all very lucky to have her here. And in honor of her birthday, let's all sing Yom Huledet Sameach. 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 Happy birthday, Joe. We love you.
So if you have a Simcha coming up or any other special event, we are always looking for more sponsors for our Onegs. Yeah, there we go. All right, so as you may know, religious school has already started on Sundays and Tuesdays. We've got our young folks, our teens, everybody's coming, and if you haven't registered, there's still time to join us at the religious school. So please come and see me after services if you're interested in some details. Tomorrow night, we have Drag Queen Bingo, and there are still some spots available if you want to RSVP on the website. It's an 18 and older event, but everybody is welcome to come that fits that criteria. Our Renaissance group is having their welcome back brunch this Sunday, so look for the RSVP info in your emails. And then again on Monday, we've got more activities. Stephanie is starting her adult education series where she's going to be having Kol Tikva community members sharing their stories, their personal Jewish journeys. And it looks like we are having the title of Partners in Law, Love, and Judaism. And if you want to find out which family in our Kol Tikva community meets that criteria, come on Monday. And then a couple weeks later, you'll be hearing from me and my wife telling our Jewish story. So this is a great series. Tonight, we'd love for you to dig deep into your wallets to give tzedakah to the West Valley Food Pantry. You can do it either using the QR code on your Shalom sheet or an old-fashioned tzedakah box out in the room with the Oneg. Other than that, check out the new Kol Tikva website to find all the details. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
We turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our own hearts. Within our community, we remember Tina Siwak, remembered by the Siwak and the Nazarian families, Janice Simeon, remembered by the Deculus family, Howard Odzer, remembered by the Ames family. We also hold in our prayers the hostages and soldiers we have lost, along with those killed in the current Mideast conflict, those taken by gun violence, as occurred this week, those that have passed due to floods, fires, and other natural and unnatural disasters, and those that have no one but us to say Kaddish for them. We also think of those who died during this season in years past. Hestia Antonoff, Robert Antonoff, Finney Bruck Brenner, Margie Brenner, Raymond Cavalieri, Martin Finling, Gabriel Friedman, Rebecca Govins, Philip Holzman, Charlie Kubert, Lillian Lacam, Richard Y.C. Lee, Jacob Olian, Morris Pass, Alice Sisman Rome, Manuel Rome, Nathaniel Rosenberg, Dove Rudman, Arlene Schaefer, Faye Schuffman, Charles Shalav, Judy Simon, Rita Steinhauser, Carl Stoll, Anita Saran, and Marie Wilson. If you have an additional name for our Kaddish or Yortzeit list, share it with me now. If you're in the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first month of mourning, Shloshim, I ask you to rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, I ask you to rise. If you're observing a Yortzeit, I ask you to rise. These are the mourners in our midst. We rise to show them our love and our support. We are on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba, v'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlech malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kariv v'imru. Yehi shmei rabba mevarak leolam ulamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'rechu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. And together we say, Amen. Put your arms around the people next to you. We're going to do our closing song, and then we're going to do Kiddush and Hamotzi after.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Bronson, come on forward to hold our Kiddush cup tonight. It is grape juice. Hold it up nice and high.
I'm not driving home tonight.
Okay, that's good to know. You put my heart at ease right now. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Everyone to come and all the way down here. We're going to put you on the floor. Be careful on the big step. I'll let you cheat this time. Please come forward. Put your hand on the shoulder of the person in front of you until we are all connected to one another and connected to the challah. You can, but hopefully you won't. Let's all point at the challah and go yum, yum, yum.
Yummy, yum, yum.
Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
turn to your left, turn to your right, say Shabbat Shalom, and then come get some challah, and then go get some oneg. And yummy, yummy, yummy. Jessica. I'm not getting her attention. Jessica DeShell. Okay, we're going to get a tray for the candles. Yeah. James. Thank you, Hallie.